Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit surprised, but it seems Call of Duty has done something that really I don't think a lot of people expected they'd be able to do at this point in the franchise. So we're jumping into some MW 2019 Ground War today because we are talking about Modern Warfare, just Modern Warfare 4, because when you look at what this game has been marketed as so far, everything they've announced and revealed for it up until this point, there is a surprising amount of excitement. I think a lot of it is warranted because they have announced some really cool things. In my opinion, there's a lot of intrigue from my perspective for all modes so far, quite frankly. Campaign, multiplayer, DMZ, whatever they fully end up doing with Warzone, obviously will be fully tapped into. But with Modern Warfare 4, it's in an interesting spot in the COD franchise as a whole, because we're coming off of a few years that have not been kind to Call of Duty, of course. This starts back with Modern Warfare 2, funny enough, you know, a game that had an absurd amount of hype going into it at launch because everyone was like, okay, it's MW 2019, it's going to be new and improved, and lo and behold, it was not that at all. So it had this crazy hype from the beta to launch, and then it really did fall off quite a bit, unfortunately. And so at that point, that kind of broke the trust of the player base when it comes to general Infinity Ward projects and gameplay within Modern Warfare. It did a lot of damage to the Modern Warfare brand just because it was not the game that I think a lot of people were expecting with it. And then you followed up with MW3, which I think was a good game. There's so many tanks. I don't feel like I played this map that much in Ground War, and I forgot how many tanks there are every single time I play it. Oh, that's a tank. I don't want to go that way. Hopefully he doesn't see me. I think MW3 was really solid though. I think they knocked it out of the park with the content. They made a solid game for what they could in the very limited time they had to make it, right? I think Sledge did a pretty solid job with it, but a lot of people saw MW3 right after MW2, and it was sort of painted as, oh, is this just an MW2 DLC in all actuality? You know, we all know that they had limited time to make it. Like, is this an actual full game? What's going on with it? Hello. And like I said, I think they did good for what they had, but there was a lot of hesitation. There was a lot of skepticism within the community about the title, which is fair. I don't know how I survived that. But it's a game that, despite being pretty solid overall, was definitely limited, and you saw that in the player count, in like the hype behind the game. Can this guy walk forward just barely so I can see him? That works. Sure, we'll take it. Oh, there's a lot of guys in that building. I just don't know if I can cross up to that without being fully seen from these guys. We're gonna try it. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of guys up to the right though too, which could be a problem. Oh yep, see, exactly that. Oh, that's right, you can't shoot doors open in this. There was just a guy on the bottom part of that hill there. This guy's, oh, he could definitely see me there. Gotta watch the hillside above me. Oh, hello. Convenient timing. Take a little double. We're two off an advanced here. Drop that right there and just hope it doesn't take me out. So you had MW2 really flop hard. You had MW3, which was okay, but never really saw a very high ceiling. And then we got into Black Ops 6, which was, in my opinion, a weird Call of Duty title because it, again, had a lot of hype. It was more so like we're taking a break from Modern Warfare, you know, as a franchise. We're going back to Black Ops. The marketing for it was pretty cool. The, you know, truth lies and everything that they had going on. There was a lot of hype going into BO6. Again, how am I not dead? I don't know. I don't have ammo or immunity, so I'm just going to take stopping power, I guess. Oh, that's a tank. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, I don't, you know, there was a muni box. I said I needed that. I just didn't think it was going to be what killed me. But BO6, again, much like MW2, a title that had cool, man, cool. A title that had a lot of hype at launch. Unfortunately, though, post-launch, right after the game dropped, much like MW2, suffered a similar fate where it kind of just fell apart. There was not a lot of hype behind the content updates because their quality, the aesthetic, the quantity of it was not terrible, but like it just seemed lacking, especially when like you compared it to, oh, this guy's so weak here. When you compared it to MW3, which just had like weekly updates and a solid content stream. And then you had BO6 marketed as one of the most developed games ever, you know, with multiple years of dev time. It just didn't really live up to the hype. Hello. But at that point, you're then going on 3 years of COD kind of struggling a little bit between MW2, MW3, and then into fire shotguns. Okay. And then into BO6. So then you get to BO7. And again, much like MW3, you have the situation of, oh, is this, you know, BO6 DLC? Is there not a guy right here? There was a red dot. Did he run outside? Yep. So out of the gate, BO7 has the skepticism for sure. But you're in a similar situation to MW3 now, where outright, is this just BO6 but fixed? And from a content standpoint, sure. But then you've got the future movement and everything going on there, the wall jumps, the bounces, everything like that. It's a bit more controversial. The future setting obviously has a lot of people, you know, second guessing. There were so many people in that house. And while I think the content is really solid and pretty fun, hello, sir, you didn't see me fall? Okay, I'll take that. We're unfortunately in another situation where, again, the ceiling is just limited severely for Black Ops 7. So now you're going on struggling with MW2, struggling with MW3 a bit, struggling with BO6 a lot, struggling with Black Ops 7 a lot. It's been 4 years where the COD player base has not been... I was alive for a third of a second. The COD player base has been struggling with trust, you know, with Activision, with Call of Duty as a whole. You know, are you going to listen more to the community? Are you gaslighting us for certain things? Like, what's going on? Fire shotgun failed that time. And then, obviously, with MW4 coming up, in the midst of COD struggling, there being a real lack of trust with the community, we're coming up on an Infinity Ward title. And obviously, going back to Infinity Ward's last project in MW2, that is a title that started the snowball here, the snowball effect of the distrust in the community. How was that guy just standing in the middle of the field? So a few months ago, prior to all the MW4 releases, we really were in a situation where, well, what did I pick up? We were in a situation where, well, it was like, okay, we're going back to Modern Warfare. Now we're in the break from the Black Ops spam every year. It is still Infinity Ward, where they kind of burned the community last time. There was a lot of feedback that went unanswered, that went, you know, ignored, essentially, is how a lot of the community felt here. And that ended up being a huge talking point, sort of scarred the community in a sense. But here's what I think is quite surprising is, in the span of just a few reveals for MW4, they've completely flipped the sentiment here. I think there was a lot of skepticism, and I can even just relate to some of the early leaks and rumors and various bits of news that surfaced from Modern Warfare 4 back earlier on this year, you know, like late winter, early spring. When we would talk about MW4 then, there was a lot of comments, there was a lot of conversation in general about people being pretty hesitant about MW4. There being a lot of skepticism about the game as a whole. People not thrilled with Infinity Ward's reputation at this point. You know, is it going to be this safe space, campy, like MW2, where they ignore feedback and everything? They have their vision and they just stick to it. This tank's going to destroy me. He didn't see me. Okay. So there was like a lot of like 50-50, like people, oh, I'm excited for MW4. And then the flip side, oh, it's another Infinity Ward title. Yeah, it's Modern Warfare, but we know what they're going to do. You know, it's going to be a mess in some cases. And then they've revealed campaign, they've revealed multiplayer, they've gone through and announced various things. And instead of all this crazy skepticism, there's actually, dare I say it, a lot of hope in the COD community right now, it seems like, regarding MW4. There's a guy in the second story here. Can I just, nope, they're gonna spawn all in the back the second I look down to check my nade count. Hello. So for the first time in what feels like a while, now don't get me wrong, there is still some skepticism, some hesitancy behind Modern Warfare 4. I don't think anyone's looked at their reveals so far and said, oh, this looks like it's going to be a flawless, perfect game. Like, that's not a scenario. There are absolutely things that I'm even concerned about. However, rather than there being this huge amount of distrust and negativity amongst the community of like, oh, it's going to suck outright, you know, it's going to just be a flop from the get-go because it's Infinity Ward, because it's this, because it's that. COD has kind of flipped the script here, surprisingly enough, and now Modern Warfare 4 has a lot of hype behind it, seemingly. There's been a lot of positive reaction to the reveals so far across multiplayer, campaign, DMZ, which is surprising to see. That spawn prot was insane. So in a wild turn of events, you have Infinity Ward, who for a while was really the main culprit in the distrust of the community with what happened with everything going on in MW2, now flipping the script, and it's like, oh, there's a lot of hype behind their newest title, because so far what they revealed is a lot of transparency, a lot of for the community style updates and gameplay here, which is really nice to see. It's very refreshing to see, but also very surprising that in such a short amount of time, you know, before we even have COD Next and everything, and all the major reveals to come with full-on gameplay, we're in a situation where there's a lot of positive sentiment surrounding the game already. I don't know, it's definitely cool to see though, because it wasn't something I expected, especially given the original sentiment of MW4. And like I said, with all the leaks and all the rumors, there was so much negativity surrounding Infinity Ward and the Modern Warfare brand. And while some of that is still there, and rightfully so, like, we haven't seen full gameplay, we haven't played the game ourselves, we're gonna need to confirm certain things are being updated as they should be. But based off the preliminary information, there's been a major flip in terms of general sentiment around it, which I'm surprised that Call of Duty has been able to do so quickly. I think is the biggest takeaway here. They were able to do it so quickly when we're on year 4 of, like, pretty problematic CODs for one reason or another. Some more than others, for sure. But it's an interesting situation. I think I'm 1 off the advanced. Yeah, that means it's time to die. Usually how it goes. We're securing B. I swear I heard footsteps in here. Yep. All right, now we got a bunch of guys that are in here. Oh, including you, who is not on the UAV. That's always fun. Oh, there's a guy right in there. Hello. Just one of you, though? Oh, hello. Got a little ammo out of that. We're on a 16. We're on a 0. I shouldn't have said anything. Oh, and he had the stopping power MP5. Yeah, I stood no chance. Now, obviously, like I said, the most important part has yet to come. Yeah, you destroy that sentry gun, man. You got this. I don't know what that was. That was a Claymore. The beta is going to be very telling. The full launch is going to be very telling, because we've even seen, like with the MW2 beta, there was a lot that people liked, and then launch came and went, and they changed a lot of things, and people were not super thrilled about that and how they went about everything there. So the most important part is still on the horizon, but so far, there's been a major 180. Don't, sir, don't. I asked you almost nicely. I didn't say please. I guess that's on me. Launch is going to be very important to see how much they keep up with the community, how much transparency is still there and everything. That's obviously going to be huge, but there's been a surprising change in COD here, which is interesting to see for sure. And they actually did shift the narrative a bit, which is not something I expected to happen in an Infinity Ward title. If you would have told me this, you know, 6 months ago, 10 months ago, I would have said, hold on. Who's doing what now? What game is changing? Infinity Ward? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's really interesting to see this big switch up and this big flip here. And we'll see how this continues to play out as we only get more and more and more and more info on MW4. But that's going to wrap things up today. Something I wanted to point out that I was thinking about as of late. And of course, never a bad reason to go back and play some MW 2019. That'll wrap things up though. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe on your way out as well. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you later. Peace out.